Welcome to another inclusion of Sports Brawl right here. I'm the Raptor Master himself, Jonathan Peck right here, head of the sports admin right here, and one of the judges for this special evening of Sports Brawl right here. Joining the people around, we have two brand new faces right here around Sports Brawl right here. Even one brand new face to debates in general, though. So I can't wait for this match for itself right here, though. But with me, before I get to my competitors, I just want to introduce the judges real quick. On to my side right over here, we got Mr. Asher Gold. How you doing, Asher?
Well, I can't tell what day it is, so that's good. I'm doing fine. Taking this one step at a time and ready to see a great battle between two new competitors and ready to judge it. But it's Monday, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I kind of got confused with the days.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm ready to judge.
Well, I just thought it was just a Friday, but okay. Okay. Well, next to Asher right here, we got Carmel Mountains out, Mr. Ryan Payne. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. Trust me, Asher. It's honestly at this point, every day feels like Monday. But I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm looking forward to seeing this match. It's been a while since I've judged a sports brawl. I just judged a few late TV fights and nerd fights matches. So hopefully, I don't know. My brain got broken on a couple of last one of them, so I'm hoping to stay on track with this one.
It's okay. I have a similar thing, some instances. Let me introduce the competitors right here, though. Introducing in the bottom right here, you might know her to other facets around the fan league community right here, but this is not only her first Sports Brawl appearance right here, but also her debut in debates in general, though. Introducing Miss Peggy Gubbins. How you doing, Peggy?
I'm doing pretty good, although I was on an episode of Schmobates, but I went into it not knowing what I was getting into. This one, I'm a little bit more familiar with the process, so hopefully I can hold my own a little bit better this go around.
All right. And you got some Chicago Bears jersey right here, though. Let's just hope right here, you make the uprights this time around on your first match right here. Sorry I had to put that out there. I just want to get that part out of the way. I know. Sorry.
Fair.
All right. Against Peggy right here, we got is sort of new to the sort of familiar to debates, but we see this person first time in Sports Brawl right here. We got Mr. JD West. How you doing, JD?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Sports Brawl is not my strongest strength, but I know a little bit to where maybe I could get at least a point or two, and if not, hopefully make some sports fans laugh at my egregious mistakes.
It's okay. All right. We all have some kind of egregious mistakes themselves in what's not only debate, but also knowledge and stuff like that. But you're not alone on that one, though. And just want to say right here, whoever wins this tournament right here will move on to our rookies tournament right here in Sports Brawl right here. Whoever the winner of the rookies tournament will have a special surprise after winning the tournament. So I can't wait for this match right here. And also, let me just lay out the ground rules right here before we start, though. 90 seconds, we'll have an opening debate right here. 5 minutes when the debate starts right here. 60 seconds for closing right here. Both of you have 1 minute extensions can only work on your opening or closing of each of your arguments right here, though. One of them each of the times right here, though. So if both of you talk overlapping each other, I will give you a 10-second count out right here, though. If both of you start lagging on each other, not getting the other competitor to counter argument sense right here, though. So is everybody ready?
Ready.
Yep.
All right, let's do this thing. Let's get out with round number 1. We're going to Peggy strength, which is the NFL. And recently, we have the NFL draft, or should I say the annual viral draft right here, though. It's just basically some general managers and head coaches just sitting on their couches, just press with draft picks, pressing a button right here, though. So with that, I just thought might be interesting, right? And the question is this. What is the biggest moment in NFL draft history, the biggest draft moment. So, since it's Peggy's strength, I'm going to start with Peggy right here with her choice.
All right. Well, I thought about this, and as much as I wanted to go with the draft that gave the Bears Walter Payton, just was not a big draft moment in the grand scheme of things. I decided to go back to the 2004 draft when a man named Eli Manning decided to throw a hissy fit when he got drafted first overall, and he didn't want to play for the San Diego Chargers at the time. Making that choice, redefined moments for not one, not two, but in my mind, 5 different franchises. I will get into that later, but my pick for the biggest event, the biggest moment of the NFL draft is when Eli Manning was drafted number 1 overall and demanded a trade and ended up with the New York Giants.
All right. We got the Eli Manning draft debacle moment right here in the 2004 draft. Very good choice on Peggy. We're going to go with JD with his selection.
Like Peggy, my mind went to, biggest moment. It'll kind of be a cop-out to do a big positive moment, so I was thinking big negative moments, and while researching, I found a big one. In the 1999 draft, the Bengals drafted a player called Achilles Smith. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, that doesn't sound so bad since now you got player. No. They passed up a lot of people just to get a mediocre player. And I'll get to it more in the 5-minute debate, but yeah, not a good sign.
All right. We got Peggy's choice with the Eli Manning. Didn't want to go to San Diego to the Giants versus JD's choice of Achilles Smith over many lot of players in the 1999 draft. We're going to start with a 5-minute debate, which I believe Ryan will start with the timer right here, though. All right. I think that's good. 5 minutes will begin with one of you begins talking.
All right, I'll kick it off. The reason I chose Eli Manning demanding the trade from the San Diego Chargers to the New York Giants is because it affected the fate of 5 different NFL teams, in my opinion. It affected not only the fate of the Chargers, who ended up with Phillip Rivers, who will probably be a Pro Bowl quarterback when all is said and done, but they've never gotten a championship. Giants, however, got 2. Another franchise that was affected was the Pittsburgh Steelers, because had the Giants not gotten Eli Manning on that trade, they would have picked Ben Roethlisberger. That would have affected the Steelers' trajectory from that point on. It also affects the Patriots, because if Eli Manning is not behind center in that Super Bowl, the Patriots most likely run the table, which in turn affects the 72 Dolphins, who keep getting to brag about their undefeated season. Because of this trade, all those things were affected. How could this not be the biggest moment?
Well, for the biggest moment, I wasn't thinking for multiple teams, just the team that decided to do the draft pick. That's why I went with the Bengals drafting Achilles Smith, because they passed up not 1, not 2, but 9 different players to go for a dude who scored a 16 on his Wonderlic
test.
Columbine test. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, and if he did get a tutor, he would have one of the lowest whatever scores
One of them.
Of any NFL player that I've researched.
Yeah, the Wonderlic test is tricky. I've taken it before. Got a 27, by the way. But I mean, I get the fact that Cincinnati passed over 9 different players that could have turned their franchise around a little bit. But this moment that I chose didn't just affect that one team because they picked what turned out to be a mediocre player. This choice, this tantrum that Eli Manning threw a wrench into the whole NFL equation and changed the destiny of many a team. I'm sure that I could probably pinpoint more things if I really dug down deep and researched it. But those were the most glaring effects that one moment had on the entire trope of the NFL.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But I wasn't around to experience it, but based off of what people have been telling me, the Bengals were actually a pretty decent team before they recruited Achilles Smith. It just went downhill from there. Now, for people who don't know what Wonderlic test is, it basically tests cognitive ability for the Combine. Now, for a player who refused to review film or review the playbook, you could kind of understand why he would score so low on the Wonderlic test.
Well, I mean,
1 minute warning. 1 minute.
1 minute remaining. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you seem to be very concentrated on this Wonderlic test. That's just like a litmus test, just to kind of see where everyone's at. Could they be able to digest the playbook? Could they be able to be counted on day in, day out with the grind that is the NFL season? Do they have the mental capacity to do that? That's all well and good. We're talking about a moment that was the biggest moment in the history of the draft. We're not talking about a draftee specifically. We're talking about a moment, and that moment was when Eli Manning said, "I will not play for the San Diego Chargers," and that affected so much.
Well, yeah, the biggest moment would definitely be a dude crying because, I got $1 million instead of $2 million.
JD, it's time.
Time, man.
Don't worry.
All right. I had similar instances like that one. Just want to be sure. Well, all right. Very good 5-minute arguments right here, though. I'm going to go with Peggy right here for her 60-second closing right here. It will begin when you start talking.
Well, as I said, we were looking for the biggest moment in NFL draft history, and that does not rely on the effect one guy had on one team. I'm looking for the effect one guy had on many teams, and that, in my mind's eye, is when Eli Manning demanded the trade. It affected so much. The San Diego Chargers could have Super Bowl rings right now, and the Giants could have never been there. The Patriots could have run the table. The 72 Dolphins no longer get their champagne toast every year. It's the right pick, the right choice for this topic is when Eli Manning went number 1 overall and refused to play for the San Diego Chargers and ended up with New York Giants. That's my pick, and I'm sticking with it.
All right. Are you going to concede the rest of your time? All right.
Yes, sorry. I tend to speak fast.
It's okay. It's all right. Okay. She's going to concede her time. All right. JD, 60 seconds on you. We begin talking.
Well, Kelly Smith didn't just affect the Bengals. When they got rid of him in 2003, he affected the Buccaneers, the Packers, and multiple different teams based off of the Bengals' bad decision in 1999, passing up 9 different players to draft a player who got such a low score on his Wonderlic test that he refused to review film. He refused to review the playbook, and generally not that really great of a player that affected multiple teams from that single moment, kind of like your draft moment, but not as upfront.
Time.
Well timed out. That was good.
All right. Okay. All right. Pretty good arguments for both of you right here. I'm going to go on to my fellow judges right here. We're going with Asher. What do you think of the argument, and what do you think some of the choices, and who should get the point?
Yeah, there were good arguments there. I'm just going to say I think Peggy won this round. I think the 2004 draft is one of the 2003 draft, depending on is 04, is one of the most iconic drafts of all time, mainly because Eli Manning stands up there with the first overall pick with a hissy face because he demands a trade, and your argument that it changed 5 teams' trajectories and histories over the course of that decision, plus even more if you really wanted to argue about it, that's pretty clear cut. As for Akili Smith, I think JD got really caught up on the Wonderlic test, which I would have focused more on the amount of picks that they could have gotten, and also maybe put in his stats as well. He was pretty underwhelming throughout his 3 years out in the Bengals. You could have listed maybe the quarterbacks that were behind him, like McNabb was taken, but you also had a few other quarterbacks. You had Dante Culpepper, I'm pretty sure, as well. Or you could have just thrown it entirely and just gone with Ricky Williams from the Saints. The Saints traded almost everything for Ricky Williams. That was a bigger bust. Yeah, that was a bigger bust than Akili Smith, I'd say. So it was a good choice. I just think just work on your argument in a little bit of a different direction. So my point goes to Peggy on this.
All right. Why don't Peggy? Ryan, what argument swayed you, and who just gets the point?
Well, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but my pick was also to Peggy as well. Look, I understand JD's going on the different negative side, and while Eli Manning being given to a different team or throwing that hissy bit might seem as a positive for the Giants, ultimately in the end, it still was more impactful. It was still more iconic. I mean, she did mention the 5 teams that were affected. She talked about the big what if situation. As someone who was San Diego as born and bred San Diego native, the moment that happened, I mean, personally, I could give 2 shits. Personally, my opinion is not going to factor in how I judge the point. But just going from the argument itself, how Peggy talked about the impact, the iconicness of it, to where people still talk about it. And JD, if you had attacked Peggy more on picking Manning, he whined a bit, but technically it kind of benefited him more. The fact that he did go to the Giants, the fact that he was able, the fact that him hissy fitting actually paid off for him. I mean, that's one thing. Sure. San Diego were pissed off at Eli Manning, but at the same time, Manning got what he wanted, and he would still be able to go to Super Bowls. But also, if you had talked more on his stats or the mismanagement decision of the Bengals and the better picks that they could have had on hand, I guess it just came down to if you walked. I'm not going to go further into it. It was just more of there should have been more attacks made on Peggy, or if you spend a lot of time defending your pick, but Peggy does get the point.
All right. With that, Peggy wins round number 1 with her selection right here. Going same thing with me. My point wouldn't matter. I would go my point to Peggy right here. JD, you have a very good choice right here, but you kind of miss out with some of the key things. Yeah. Not only they drafted Akili Smith, they only passed Dante Culpepper, missing other players like Edgerrin James, Ricky Williams, Torrey Holt, Champ Bailey, Chris McAllister, Javon Curse, all the players right here that you could have mentioned right here, that you could have picked that right here. with Peggy's, I think like she brought in the more detailed, the more layered out the argument right over here. So my point would have gone to Peggy with that. Peggy scored with her round 1 with 1-0 right here. Let's go into round number 2 right here, which is JD strength of the Olympics. And the question is this: what is the best city to host any Olympics event? So since this is JD strength, I'm gonna go with JD with his selection.
Okay, well, when I first heard the question, I was trying to figure out, okay, what city that hosted the Olympics is also a really good city to visit, as well as how they used the equipment post the Olympics. So my pick is Atlanta, Georgia, for when they hosted the 1996 Summer Olympics, because they repurposed the main Olympic stadium into the biggest, not in size, but like biggest gathering for their team by repurposing Olympic Stadium as Turner Field.
All right, can see your time.
You can see your time.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we got JD's choice of Atlanta, Georgia. We'll go with Peggy with her selection.
All right. When you think Olympics, what do you think? What comes to your mind? Is it not Greece? Is it not where this thing began? If you're going to ask, what is the best city to host any Olympic event, you got to take it back to where it started. It started back in 776 BC, guys. It started in Greece. And the capital of Greece is Athens. It used to be played in Olympia, hence the name Olympics, but Athens, Greece has hosted it twice. The first modern Olympics was in Greece, and they've hosted it one time since. There's no real home field advantage when you play in the Olympics. The closest thing to it is if you're playing in Greece. So if I'm going to be in the Olympics, I want to win on their home turf. So my pick for best place for any event in the Olympics, you got to be in Athens, baby.
All right. We got JD's choice of Atlanta, Georgia versus Peggy's Athens, Greece. All right. 5 minutes will begin when one of you start talking.
JD, you want to go? You want me to take
To be fair, I will.
Go ahead. You're good.
I'll go. To be fair, I was also considering Athens, but then I realized just because a place is well known for it does not mean it's the best, i.e. buffalo wings. So, while Athens seems like a good choice, it did not do that much for the Olympics, in my opinion, other than, we changed it from the Olympiad to the Olympics. Whoop-de-doo. Now, Atlanta is steeped in history with the Olympics because not only was that the creation of the Land Braves baseball stadium, Turner Field, but it was also the inspiration of one hero that basically was the face of the Atlanta Olympics bombing in a good way, Richard Jewell, which Clint Eastwood saw that, and I was like, this guy's story needs to be told. So,
okay, so I
cut
understand.
to the popular movie Richard Jewell.
Yeah, Richard Jewell's story needs to be told, but Atlanta, the Olympics there had a bombing. Why would you want to host an event where there was a bombing that is on, like, it's known history that this in fact happened? You want to go to where you can, like, where it all began. You want to go, like, there's no, like I said, I used to be an athlete, used to be, operative word. And if you couldn't win on your home court, the second best place to do it is on the opponent's home court. When you're in the Olympics, there's no real home court advantage unless you're the host city. But if you think about it, the best home court there is in the Olympics is Greece. So that's where you want to win it at. You don't want to win at some place where you might get blown up. And in my mind's eye, the most memorable part of Atlanta was the Magnificent Seven gymnastics team, not the bombing. But still, I wouldn't want to go to a city where I might be put in peril just for performing what I've been dreaming my whole life of doing.
Yeah. Well, the best host city, in my opinion, is one that is steeped in history and
Athens,
that
baby.
the home city realized the advantages of using these structures for the teams that they host.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing for me picking Atlanta is the fact that they repurposed a stadium that not a lot of people would think to repurpose in such a way as
they repurposed the stadium in London. They repurposed the stadium in Sydney. They repurposed the stadium down in Rio de Janeiro. There's a lot of facilities that they built in honor to bring the Olympics to a city, and they don't just let it sit there and collect dust after the fact. They put it to good use. Atlanta is not exclusive to that fact. If you're going to pick a city to be in the Olympics in, you want to take it back to what you said, the city with history, Athens.
Yeah. Well, to reiterate, just because the thing started there does not mean it's the best.
That's true, but you want to know what? It started there, and if
Athens,
you probably got one shot at it. You know what? If it started there, you're going to end it there. That's where you want to be, baby. That's where you want to perform. And by the way, that first modern-day Olympics back in 1896, first Olympic gold medal to go to was an American, baby. It was James Connolly for the triple jump. So, come on.
Okay, well, I previously didn't know that, but that was good that he won in OK City. Yeah, Athens might be the start of it, but just because you start
Time.
Sorry, bro. Time.
All right. Okay. All right. Gonna head on back to JG right here, though. You got 60 seconds on your closing right here, though. When it begins, when you start talking.
Like I said earlier, just because you originate something doesn't mean you're the best at it. Yes, Athens originated, or Athens and Greece in general originated the Olympics, but I don't think they're the best at it. The best, in my opinion, is one that is steeped in history, that you could look to them and they're like, yeah, there's something bad that happened, but it was historic and they got through it and continue to thrive. Kind of like how multiple cities overcome tragedies. Just because Athens didn't have anything bad happen as regard to like bombing or anything.
Time.
Just not me, it's the best.
All right. Okay. Peggy, 60 says will begins when you start talking.
All right, you keep saying steeped in history. Like, all apologies, I love America, but 1996, the country had only been around for 224 years at that point, 226, whatever. I'd have to do the math. I'm not really great at math. But you're saying steeped in history. Athens, steeped in history. This shit started back in BC times. And it started there. If I'm going to play in an Olympic event and I'm probably going to get one shot at it, maybe two if I'm lucky because it's every 4 years, I want to play where it all began. I want to play in Greece, baby. Whatever the sport is, that's where I want to go.
Right.
Concede time.
Okay. All right. Pretty good arguments for both of you right here. I'm going to hand out with Ryan on this one. Ryan, who gets this point right here?
Okay, this definitely was a very complete. This was 100%. Well, there's a lot of passion going on here. I guess you guys definitely had two great points here. Peggy talked about the importance of the origins that came from the Olympics, having it back in Athens, and JD, you talked about the history that happened in Atlanta, how they were able to repurpose as your main statements. JD, you were ahead. You were way ahead, but it wasn't until the debate Peggy started chipping away at your points. She chipped away at you using the bombing incident that happened in Atlanta. She chipped away at your biggest pro, which was repurposing the stadium by saying other cities had done that as well. And even though you did go at her with the fact that just because an event originated at a country doesn't mean it's the best place to hold it. If he had just pushed that a little more and kept pressing on that, this would have been dead even, but at the later end of the debate and in the closing, Peggy took away your argument from you to where she just kept chipping it away. So Peggy gets the point.
All right. We got one of Peggy right here. For me, I'm going to go with me on this one. Well, for me, I'm going to go with the same thing right here. I'm going to give my point to Peggy also. Same thing right here, though. You still have a very good foot with JD right here, but I didn't hear you enough about why your city is actually was a great place for Olympics right here. I think you cut to a focus on the bombing right over here, though. It didn't have more focus enough of why your city is actually well destructive for the Olympics right here. Even after the bombing, said how we be aware of it right here, though. And she put up some counters right here. Like, he does with purpose, but pretty much every city does it right here. And I think she have a better points right over here, though. So I'm going to give my point to Peggy. Also, with that, we got 2-0 Peggy right here. Very good job right here. I'm going to go with Asher right here. Your point wouldn't have mattered, but what point you could have gone to?
Yeah, I was going to choose Peggy. JD had some good points, and I was with him on Atlanta, but I don't know. I think he focused on the bombing too much. And yeah, a good counter would have been that, there have been several Olympic controversies and safety concerns throughout the history of the Olympics. Why does this city have such, a tortured past, and why don't people want to come back here compared to other cities? But one thing that wasn't pointed out that I think would have helped for Peggy, she still got the point, so it doesn't really matter. But the fact that, it wasn't just played in Atlanta. It was played in D.C. It was played around Georgia in general. It wasn't just the city of Atlanta that hosted this. It was kind of all of the southeast of the U.S. So it wasn't even a fair fight because it didn't really count. But still, I was thinking my point to Peggy, and that was a cheap shot at buffalo wings also. Buffalo wings are great in Buffalo.
I thought it was a good point, though. You don't have to go to Buffalo for the best buffalo wings, but
no, but yeah, I would
honestly, when y'all asked that and Peggy said Athens, I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose this point. I might as well go outlandish with it.
No problem.
So JD, you had a very huge head start. It's just she just kept chipping away at you. If you were able to counter her more, like when she brought up that point about repurposing cities, you had the important note on the fact that they repurposed the stadium into Turner Field, which is now a sporting event for the Atlanta Braves. Or if you had talked about, if she had mentioned any other cities like specifically, and you had some perfect counters to that, you still would have had an edge in this. It's just the moment she kept countering you, you had no you weren't able to riposte. You weren't able to really block her at most points. That's why she got the point.
All right.
In my mind. I can't speak for other judges.
Yeah, one more point I forgot to mention. Also, Peggy could have said that. I mean, none of this matters because she still got the point, and it was a very good argument. But Peggy could have said that Turner Field closed after 20 years, so it wasn't repurposed for that long. Like the Braves are playing in a different park now. So,
Yeah.
but that's just I'm done.
Okay, with that, Peggy's having a 2-0 lead so far, and we got a very critical situation for JD right here, though. If he doesn't score this next round point right here, Peggy will win the match by knockout. So, just want to be careful, JD, right here. We're going into question number 3, which is Peggy's swim at the NCAA. And the question is this. What successful NCAA basketball star who were bust in the NBA? So since it's Peggy's thing, we're going to go with her selection.
I'm going to have to go with my favorite college basketball player of all time. This guy was dominant since the day he showed up on campus to the college he played at. I'm going to leave it a mystery until I get to the end of this. His freshman year, he averaged 18.9 points, 7.8 rebounds, and was the rookie of the year in his conference. Sophomore year, first team All-American and team MVP. Junior year, national player of the year and player of the year for his conference, and he capped it all off in his senior year by winning a national championship for his team, and he broke the all-time scoring record. I am talking about 6'9", out of Poplar Bluff, Missouri, Tyler Hansbrough. The man was dominant in college. He got to the next level, and he basically rode the bench, and he's now playing in China. I love him. I will always love him. But if I'm going to pick a player who was dominant in college and was a bust in the NBA, I got to go with Psycho T.
Okay. We got Psycho T with Peggy's pick right here, though. JD, what is your selection?
Well, my selection, he scored 30 points and took 17 rebounds, and it was the NCAA most outstanding player for his college, and he led the team to multiple championships. I'm referring to Ed O'Bannon for the UCLA Bruins. Now, Ed O'Bannon is not a household name by any means, but he should be because before he made it to UCLA, he led his high school of Artesia High School to a 29-2 season that year. That's impressive even for high school basketball.
Right. Okay, we got Peggy's choice of Tyler Hansbrough versus JD's choice of Eddie O'Bannon. Very good choices right here on both counts. So one of you will begin when you start talking.
Okay, how can you not pick Tyler Hansbrough for this? He's probably the most hated collegiate basketball player since Christian Laettner. And Christian Laettner got to play with the Dream Team. Tyler Hansbrough, unfortunately, did not do much with his NBA career. He was drafted 13th overall by the Pacers, played for 4 seasons with them, 2 seasons with the Raptors, and then he was playing overseas after that. This kid was so dominant when he got to North Carolina. He ruined J.J. Redick's senior night. He put down a game that night, one of my favorite games of all time. The dude led his team to a national championship. He broke the scoring record at North Carolina. Think of all the names that came out of North Carolina before Tyler Hansbrough got there. He broke the scoring record. Granted, he stayed there all 4 years. Not many of them did that, but this dude used to ball. They called him Psycho T because he was just an animal in the paint. And I thought his game was going to translate. He was going to be the big white dude who was hanging down there and actually putting up points. But no, his game did not translate to the next level, unfortunately, as much as I would have loved it to have happened. But the boy was nothing but dominant when he was in college, and it just didn't translate. So if you're going to talk about someone who was great in college and just didn't go to the next level, you got to pick Tyler. Got to pick number 50.
you're bringing up really good points right now, and I didn't used to be an athlete, so I probably don't know much, but Ed O'Bannon, he averaged to talk about his past a bit before I uplift him for all the good he did for UCLA. He averaged 25 points in his high school. He did 10 rebounds.
That's high school. I averaged 10 rebounds a game in high school. Yes, I didn't play in D1.
Yes, but in college, he hold up.
Okay. Look up.
He was inducted into the. Sorry, he was inducted into the UCLA Hall of Fame in 2005 because he did a whole lot for the team.
Hansbrough had his number retired already.
Won the John R. What?
I said Hansbrough already had his number retired at North Carolina. What else you got?
Well, Ed O'Bannon also had his number retired. So now let's shift to the focus of this question.
Please.
How hard they tanked in the NBA.
Okay.
Leading up to the 1995 draft, he was a hopeful for many different teams until he was finally selected by the New Jersey Nets, but he was selected 9th, which, okay. But he signed a huge contract just to tank in less than 2 seasons.
Well, you know, a lot of people look at Len Bias. Look at Len Bias and see how long
before he tanked.
Tyler went 13th. I mean, they were both first-round picks. But you know what? Ed O'Bannon, sorry, never heard of the guy. I guarantee you these judges, they've all heard of Tyler Hansbrough before. And I know they're younger than I am. They probably weren't even, like, watching college basketball all the time, but they've heard that name before. Ed O'Bannon, I'm sorry, I don't remember him. Maybe that's a point towards you because I don't remember him. But you're talking about someone who was fantastic in college and just did not translate to the next level. And if there's one person that I can think of that I wished had just been able to continue on that trajectory he had in college into the pros, I wish it would be Tyler Hansbrough. It just did not pan out, and that's why he's my pick.
Well, to be fair, Tyler Hansbrough played for one of the most prolific college basketball teams in New York, in North Carolina.
Time. All right. Okay. We tell like 3 other times now. Don't even ask that again, okay?
I'm pretty sure you might have a lag on his end. That's why I just.
All right. I just want to make sure. All right. Okay, we got 60 seconds on your closing. Hey, you begin. 60 seconds will begin when you start talking.
2,872 collegiate career points. That is what Tyler Hansbrough scored while he was with the Tar Heels at the University of North Carolina. Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, Outstanding Player of the Year, won a national championship for his team, came in out the gate, averaging double digits in many of the stat categories, leads the university all-time scoring. How did it not translate to the next level? I do not understand it, but he was my favorite back in the day. I wish he was still playing at the same level he used to because he was an exciting player to watch. Tyler Hansbrough, hands down, is the choice for the player who was dominant in college and it just didn't pan out next level. Easy.
Okay. JD, same thing with you. Say success with your closing when it begins.
Ed O'Bannon was one of the best players on a team that is not talked about a lot by any means, the UCLA Bruins. But when he went to the NBA, he tanked really hard. I'm talking 5 points a game, 3 rebounds a game, and not even 1 assist. That's a lot. And he tanked hard after he left the Nets, affecting the Mavericks. He affected that was basically the only American team he played for after the Nets, because that's how hard he tanked.
Time, JD.
Concede.
Oh.
All right. Okay. Very good choices right here and good closings right here. So I'm gonna start off with me right here. Okay. For me, gonna cut very much. I'm gonna go give my points to Peggy right here because she pointed out like great reasons why her choice right here didn't live up to the high standards that he had in college right here, go to the pros right here, and even the circumstances afterwards right here. With JD, you have a great closing right here of why Ed O'Bannon didn't do well mainly with the NBA, even after he got with the Nets right here, even the team afterwards didn't do it as well though. So you were very close right here to getting up there. So I'm unfortunately had to give my point to Peggy right here. Got one up Peggy right here. I'm gonna get my going with Ryan with his selection now.
Okay. Look, JD, you were definitely faring well at the start of it, but it was just the pause that you had there. Looked like you were trying to regather your thoughts. Peggy definitely threw you off there. So Peggy is getting the point. Also, Peggy I think she overloaded you with stats a little bit that you were trying to find where you could counter her. And it was kind of at this one moment where if you kept like what you did on the first and second question, if you talked more about your player, that would have helped you find your way to counter Peggy, but it was that dead time, unfortunately. And I've been in your position before where trying to gather your thoughts, but with 5 minutes that you have to debate, you have to just try to keep pushing forward, unfortunately. You came back good in the closing, man. It was just unfortunate. There was just those seconds of dead air that kind of got you.
All right. With that, all right. Asher, your point wouldn't have mattered. What point you could have gone to?
I was going to go with Peggy. I think that Ed O'Bannon, Peggy's right. I've never heard of him, and I've heard of Tyler Hansbrough, but that's because I've seen Tyler Hansbrough play in college. So, but looking up Ed O'Bannon's stats and his history on online, there were other things that you could have said. He was homesick, so he only decided to play 2 years. He has a lawsuit with the NCAA because of likenesses in his video games. I mean, he's going after all of this stuff when he could have had a long career in the NBA, but didn't produce. So that's why I was going to go with Peggy.
All right, with that. And your winner by count of knockout, Peggy Goodman.
We're not going to do the fourth one?
I'm sorry, unfortunately. We got 3-0 right here by knockout right here. I just want to say congratulations on your very first Sports Brawl, man, and your first debate, though. Wow, that was amazing. How you feeling right now?
I'm feeling all right. I was lucky enough to, the first question, I wish I could have gone a little bit more Bears-centric with it, just because that was where my heart always lies with the NFL. But the minute I was able to talk about my boy Tyler Hansbrough on the third one, I knew I was going to have that one, at least that question on lockdown. Knew I would win at least one of the 4. So I'm happy that it turned out it was a clean sweep. It was fun. JD, had fun debating with you, my man. You did a fantastic job, and I look forward to the next Sports Brawl that I am on. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, congratulations indeed. And that's going to, unfortunately, the loser this afternoon. I just want to say congratulations on JD, though. You have put up a very good fight around here, and you put up some very good choices right here. It just didn't get kind of lean up to it the more you hope it would be. So, how are you feeling right now, JD?
In that last round specifically, whenever Peggy started throwing the stats for Psycho T at me, I was like, fuck, I don't know anything about stats. I'm gonna lose. Yeah, but like I said, I've said in all the other debate leagues, I'm just the Josh McCouga or Mike Carlson of these debate leagues. I just come here to have fun. I don't expect to get a point. If I get a point, that's nice, but I don't really expect it at this point. And whenever, for the people out there, the fourth question involved the Chicago Cubs. And when I saw that Peggy came in with a jersey for the Bears, I'm like, I'm losing outright. Why? Oh my
Already
God. And I don't know anything about Sports Ball to begin with, so I'm surprised I even lasted this long.
Well, it's okay right here. That's the in the end of the day, it's for fun right here. Even though I'm sad at this rookie tournament right here, it's fun for everyone else to join right here.
Attitude, buddy. Fantastic attitude to have.
Yeah, exactly right here. With that, Peggy, congratulations. You move on to the next round right here. We're waiting to the opposite winner of the other match right here, though. Just want to say congratulations right here. And going to our judges right here, though. And I just want to say, wow, it's been very good so far, though. Just a little lopsided, you might say, right here, but still a very good match right here. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a good match. JD had some good choices and some good points that he brought up. I think just Peggy kind of laid the flooring on him later on, so that led to her win.
Well, it was clear from the get-go Peggy was definitely new to sports, so she was able to dominate most rounds. And JD, and I do agree, Asher, JD had great picks. He had some fantastic picks here that I thought if, like I was even bringing up to him, if he was able to counter, if he was able to press more on Peggy, we would have gone to the fourth question here. This would not have been a clean sweep, or hell, it could have been like a different story depending on the score. It's just in the situation, you know, when you get into sports is a different animal when you argue in any other league, because just like what Peggy did, you gotta come with your stats, and at the same time, you gotta be able to back it up. Even if you're not the best, even if you're not the most knowledgeable sports player, as long as you're able to craft your argument well and you have the stats to help back it up, then you can even beat some of the most diehard sports fans. I know I was able to convince judges in one of my Sports Brawl matches, even though I'm not the best. UFC is not my favorite. I was able to convince many judges to vote for me in that situation. So JD, if you ever do come back, just remember, even if you're not that knowledgeable in sports, just make sure that you're able to craft your argument well, that you got like a story and your bullet points set up. And then who knows, we might see you down the road challenging for that Sports Ball championship.
All right. Yeah, I just want to say, like, next time you can come back to Sports Brawl here, just want to say you did a good job right here, though. And just want to say, keep your chin up right here, holds up right here, and right here, though. With that is it for this Sports Brawl match right here. like I mentioned, like early parts of the show, I crafted a rookies tournament right here, though, and whoever winners of the rookies tournament right here will have a special surprise after winning it right here, though. So with that,
I'm intrigued.
yeah, intrigue indeed, right here, though. With that, I am the Raptor Master Jonathan Peck with Peggy, with JD, to Asher, to Ryan. Just want to say, take care. Good night, everybody.